Happy bowl season.
Yay.
It's time to get out your finest Roosters holiday sweaters and get ready to
You
talk
guys look fantastic.
These are the best.
about the Cotton Bowl. Thank you to Nicole Cox for outfitting the whole crew.
I love it.
Now we're covered for every holiday party that we have in December. I'm going to wear it every
holiday
day.
party. I'm wearing this just
Every day?
a week.
All year.
Yeah.
Did you get it sized down? I mean, we're looking so svelte.
I know.
I didn't
180.
choose Nicole's.
I
like-
chose.
I just eyeballed it. It was like,
Nicole said, no, I didn't bring you an extra large. You're wearing a large.
hey,
Yes.
welcome to the
I was
club.
like, Austin, Jay-Z wears a large. You can wear a large.
She's getting it. She's got a medium in the back for you here in 2 weeks.
I know.
Right. We're not going to get to that point. At some point, I'm going to be back on
You're
Appetizer
awake. You're
Tuesday.
awakened. Oh, listen, is it Tots Day?
No, these are the mini.
Oh,
Even
mini.
better.
Oh, even better. Mini corn dogs. They're delicious. And you know what? If you have a wood allergy, they check the box because you can eat a corn dog not on a stick because they're small, bite size,
that?
little mustard dipping sauce. $3 all day long on Tuesday at Roosters.
3 days.
3 days.
Appetizer 3
They probably have ketchup that you can use too.
I mean,
Yes.
The real secret
ketchup
would be
dipping sauce.
what-
That's apparently.
what my son calls the Rooster special sauce, which is the spicy ranch,
Spicy
which he
ranch.
loves.
So good. It's good on everything.
Put that
in my
on some
opinion.
mini
It
corn
is.
dogs, and you're in business. That's
doubt.
Justin Zwick and Bobby Carpenter. I am Austin Ward, and hey, last week was just
It was weird.
not the most fun casual conversation that we can have at a fun casual joint. But let's find some holiday joy in the Cotton Bowl, Nicole.
Yes, we're so
Because
excited.
you're
You got
back, and get us ready. What do we need to look forward to here? Why are you excited for the Cotton Bowl?
Because we're taking 12 grand prize winners
Hey,
who
that's good,
are
isn't it?
over the moon excited. It's going to be an incredible experience. We're staying at the Team Hotel, the
Ooh,
Gaylord
the
Hotel.
Gaylord's way better than the Anatole.
Oh, you
Sure
guys, it is resort. I don't think we're gonna have to leave.
No,
and
they've got like a
You've never
Christmas.
seen
They've got
the
an
Christmas
indoor
lights?
Christmas set up in there. They make snow. It's
I
crazy.
told Nicole
Yeah.
that is the real piece de resistance.
I've told all the winners that we've met with since we found that out, and I said it's just Christmas everywhere. I can't wait. That's like
It's
what
like
I'm
Buddy
really
the Elf
excited for.
over here.
Oh, I love it, you guys. Hence the sweaters.
Yeah.
I just love it so much. So
When I found out the one seed, I'm like, well, we're the top seed. Anatole, we were the second when we went with Oregon. I'm like, I think that means that they're going to be at the Gaylord, which is awesome. It's where we stayed in Dallas my last year for Team Hotel, and I went in that giant atrium area, whatever the heck you call it. I mean,
the
where
world's biggest lobby. I think.
the world's biggest lobby, and it's like, oh, this is where Santa Claus lives. This is remarkable.
I cannot.
Yeah.
You guys, I am so excited.
Have you
It's
been there
pretty
yet?
awesome.
No.
You've just seen the pictures.
I
Oh.
am so, but just, I don't know. I think that in itself, which makes it more exciting for our winners as well. Just like something to look around. It's I don't know.
We're at the team hotel. They can see the players maybe
Oh,
walking
yeah.
through the
They do.
lobby.
And
Which
then-
that's exciting
That
too.
is
The Christmas
exciting.
stuff's really exciting.
Who knows
as
who
well.
will be there?
Holiday
Opt
season.
in,
Yes,
opt
I
out.
know. Let's
Bob's already done with that conversation.
I
Let's
wonder if
steer back
there's
to the roster
I wonder if
management.
there's any portal access in the
Gaylord?
Gaylord, like if they have the secret, bookshelf in there where you reach in and walk into
Well,
the portal.
You just beam yourself into your phone. Any phone has access to it.
Also, it's like it's kind of like Star Wars with Obi-Wan. Instead of the thing coming up, it just pulls you in.
beam me up portal. That's how it works.
I like that. Just getting stuck inside a video game.
I'm sorry that you guys didn't have that
I don't know
option.
what that is.
They didn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
17
more
years ago.
portals, the better, is what I've always said.
Who can argue with that? Bob, what's got you excited for the Cotton Bowl?
Well, getting a chance to see some of the young guys play, getting a chance to see some of the veteran players who are going to be participating, which I think there is this prevailing belief that like anybody who is eligible to leave is just out and not going to play. And just having some conversations with some of the guys, their parents, and it's like, do you think they'll play my son? I'm like, well, why wouldn't they? Does he want to play? They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, I'm pretty certain
They're not turning guys down.
that they're going to play. Like, your son is a starter.
No, you
He's
can't.
been here.
You can't do it, Mr. Captain.
He's
Cade
a
Stover.
4 or 5 year. Yeah, I think like Tommy, Cade, and Steele. I was like, well, are these guys going to play? And they're like, well, yes. In Tommy's case, like if he can, we'll see if he's physically there. He's obviously got the elbow situation. But like Steele and Cade, it's like, well, why wouldn't they play? I mean, I don't know, because guys maybe don't want to.
Until this moment, I know there's a lot on the line, especially if they're going into the NFL, but I'm one of those people, I like to end on a win. End on a good note, so I think
Better than the alternative.
Yeah, so if they have the option, and for as competitive as they are, I could absolutely see them like, we really want to.
They definitely have the option. I mean, Ohio State.
Well, everybody says like, well, it's just for the young guys now. I'm like, I think the coaches still would prefer to win the game and play the veteran players if they can.
I think the veteran players would want to. I mean, they are disappointed. Obviously, the way I've looked at it's like You're not going to be able to get that one back. The sting is going to stick with them forever. They lost the game. They didn't win a championship, but that doesn't have to be the last time. Well, shoot, lost. Like, I don't want to go win another game with my teammates and brothers and
brotherhood
and raise a trophy. Like, I mean, these are all highly competitive people. You guys know that.
They are, and so
those moments they're priceless.
Not going to get them.
Well, in the whole bowl week. Now I don't know if it's different now, but I mean that was a culmination of a season of all you went through. Like, hey, you're not in the championship. Back in our day, it was the BCS or nothing.
Yep.
And it was like we went to the Fiesta Bowl a bunch, and they were always great trips. We always had a great time, and it's like at the end of the year, you get to go be with your boys and be in a different spot and kind of hang out and have one last run with everybody, the seniors and guys who are leaving, this and that and the other. So it's still a big game.
Even the Alamo Bowl, I enjoyed.
That was one of my favorite ones.
It was the one of the least consequence that we
so
played.
We had probably the most fun.
Limited pressure. I mean,
what's that first night like when you get down there to the Alamo?
You remember the Alamo, and we were wanted. That was our theme song for the next year because while fun, it maybe didn't have quite the amenities of the Fiesta Bowl. So it was remember the Alamo. You want to go back to some place that might be
the Princess
a little better. Go back to the Scottsdale Princess or something along those lines. So yeah, and you always have a good time doing it. So these guys now, similar to 04, they will be spending their Christmas in the state of Texas.
Yes, they
Some
will.
of the guys are like, oh, this calendar doesn't look very good. I'm like, well, when you play on the 29th,
that's how
you're going to have to leave before the 25th. That's just how it works.
Having Christmas in the hotel.
Which is great. I mean, it's like a Christmas wonderland.
Yeah, except for the fact that you're not with your family. Well, I guess their family.
Most of their
Your family
families
could
go.
go.
And the Cotton Bowl.
My family didn't go that early. They weren't paying for the hotel that many days.
The Cotton Bowl has done a remarkable job. They have the best reputation for treating the players, the media, the coaches, everybody with respect, knowing that you don't ideally want to be having Christmas there. When the Buckeyes had to go early in 2017 for JT Barrett's last game and they beat USC and Sam Darnold, like I remember them just being so grateful for the way that the Cotton Bowl treated to make it feel like a great Christmas for them. It's not where they want to be, but you can still make it a special experience.
You guys, I love hearing that. That makes me love the Cotton Bowl so much. I mean, seriously, because they do have a choice.
Well, they have to
don't
do it
have to
again.
that.
The standard is the standard, Nicole. It hasn't started yet.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that.
She's on board with Christmas. Christmas standards are still okay.
I feel like, and it's just how you want to be remembered. Like the Cotton Bowl, like what do they want their reputation to be? And I think that speaks highly of them.
Well, you got to think. You have to give guys a reason, and I would imagine they'll be part of that rotation. They are part of the rotation now, but as they expand the field and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But you want people to want to come and want to play there and be excited about it. And if they know it's going to be a good experience, it's playing in Jerry World. Like there's a lot of pomp around it. You know, Texas loves football, so it'll be different than when we were out at the national championship last year, and no one even knew that the game was being played at SoFi. There was no signage around the entire city of LA. Oh, there's a game.
Not a big college football town. LA.
Not very big at all. But in Texas,
can we get that on the TV in here at this bar? By the way, oh no. What channel is that?
What game?
No, we're playing the OC right now. Real Housewives are on. Those are the sports that we're all about. Yeah. But in Texas, they care, and it'll be a big deal. And it's an old bowl. They're very proud of it. It's very exciting. So it'll be fun. I think a lot of those guys are going to end up playing. And we got portal talk and everything else. I don't know if everybody's going to come back, but it seems like there's a lot of momentum for some of the guys who are draft eligible, who could come back and maybe improve their stock. Are maybe going to choose to do so should everything kind of align how they believe it's going to with their draft reviews and grades and everything.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of that more with Berm in the second half of the show. I mean, the headliner, he's undecided, he said. Holy cow, Nicole, the Bolitnikov Trophy Award winner, just hasn't made up his mind. Oh, boy.
Oh, my gosh, you guys, how exciting is that?
It's not.
It's
what?
Not. Well, you mean there's not a $20 million NIL deal for him here for 1 year?
I said no, there isn't. Believe it or not. Let's shut down some of these accounts, Elon. That's that's the misinformation that you can't have out there. $25 million for NIL. Let's just shut that down. And I told Marv, and Bill and I both talked to him last week on Thursday before he left for New York, and we interviewed him and had him on the podcast daily for Friday. Said, man, I got to take you at your word. You say you're undecided, and then I'll just wish you luck either way. And he said, yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Here's the thing. I think Marv, in an ideal situation, probably 25 years ago, he would probably like to come back.
He's keeping options open, guys.
He is.
I mean, he doesn't have to answer yet.
As I said, I can only take him at his word, Nicole, and he said he was undecided.
Here's the thing I know. I know Marv will be around the team. I don't think that he's going to jettison out any of the guys, whether they choose to leave or not. I think it's important for them to kind of be around, practice with the guys, maybe not doing the team stuff, but individual and everything else, just for the leadership element and all of that. Like, if you talk about being a brotherhood, I get it. Everybody understands if Marv chooses to go, but like, you don't have to choose to not be around it. What are you going to do? Go get another 2-week jump on draft training? You're going to be out there on Christmas Day training? Like, come on now. Let's be real. No, there's a trainer out there that's going to be training you on Christmas Day.
I mean,
somebody would.
They're going to they're going to take the Monarch to Dallas. That's where he's just going to have to be.
I wonder if he gets the Monarch with him. Is that part of his deal?
He used it so much.
I bet he's got a backup somewhere.
Monarchs are expensive.
I'm sure
he's an ambassador.
But does he have a relationship? It's like your first car. Is the second Monarch the same as the first? It may have new features and be a little better, but does it have the same memories?
I think this is the second Monarch. I think he wore
one.
Broke one?
Yeah.
Right into the ground?
Not broke, just
rode hard and put up wet?
That's right. He won a trophy on Friday night, Nicole. I know how much that warms your heart.
Which is amazing. He deserves it. And I think we all knew I thought we all were very confident that he was going to win that. And again, he was a Heisman finalist, which I just think is something to be said. I think we've talked about that before, how those awards, wide receivers don't usually receive them. And so just to be nominated, to be up there, I think is such a great accomplishment.
Bob, he did say the one thing he was decided on was that he would be at the Cotton. And
there you go.
That word is important.
Oh, that's great.
So we
be in Texas
because we did this. We went through, this process 2 years ago with Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave opting out of the Rose Bowl, and I think maybe there's part of if Marvin decides to go, being around those younger guys and getting them ready to take advantage of the opportunity like he did.
Was Garrett there?
Garrett did not. He got to the game on the day of the game, but he wasn't. I don't remember.
I say Chris was there the whole time.
Garrett. I don't think Garrett was with them throughout the practice that week, but Chris Olave was. I remember there were people like, "Oh, he's thinking about playing." I'm like, no, he stopped practicing 2 weeks ago. He's just at practice. Yes. But those guys got to be around and be a veteran presence and get Emeka and Marvin both ready for the Rose Bowl, and then Marv goes out there, and that was really his introduction to the world. So I think he remembers that process and the springboard that gave him into the next year, and what maybe that could mean, Jay-Z, for a Carnell Tate or a Brandon Ennis. Who knows what that would look like?
I think it's huge, the leadership aspect of it, but just showing like, I get coached here. Like he's going to get better coaching here than he is going to go train somewhere else. And he has a few weeks that maybe if he wants to go through practice and do that sort of thing. But if nothing else, you're game planning and you're helping the young kids saying, all right, now look, when they're doing this, we need to be doing, he's going to bring all that knowledge with him, and just, it could be huge. He just seems, we've talked about it all year long, how great of a kid he is and this and that, but
he seemed like a nice guy.
He could bolt out of here and go do whatever he wants. Right now, he's not going to.
And I love that.
And that's great. And that, the last week and a half, it's made me think what's going on in Ohio State locker room.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say culture problem, what is happening, but when you see guys like that sticking around and wanting to be a part, and you even coming out and saying, I'm not sure, maybe I'll come back. Probably not, but at least he's saying it. I mean, it makes you feel a little bit better about things after the week we just had.
Oh, and he's saying that, but then also actually physically present there.
Yes, yeah. It's not like he's just saying it and he's out. He's still around. And he's still being a part of it.
So it's good. He's a great leader. He's a great ambassador of the program. He did a great job this weekend. It's awesome to see him win the Blitnikoff. Only the second time ever.
Which is wild, right?
In Ohio State history.
Terry Glenn, right?
Yeah, Terry Glenn won it in 95, so it's been, 28 years since Ohio State's had someone win?
With all the athletes we've had come through.
I can't understand that. How it takes so long for
how Chris Carter. I mean, there's been some really great players.
I don't think that...
Was it in not existence?
I don't think it started till like around 92 or 91 maybe.
Okay.
So it is not a long-time award that's been given out as long as the Heisman. So there are some previous guys like Chris Carter who obviously should have won or would have been in the mix for that, but they didn't have the opportunity to do so. But that doesn't apply to anybody, I don't know, in the mid-2000s or in the last 6 years who were first-round draft picks at wide receiver.
You look at all the guys that have been first-round draft picks, and the fact that none of those other guys won it is fairly incredible.
When you knew he was a finalist, he was like, all right, he's at least going to win the Blitnikoff.
He only won it by a vote.
No, but
they almost ruined it again.
Well, when he got there, I'm like, all right, at least he's going to win that one, because I just felt like they knew that going in. Like, well, we can't have him win this and not be here.
Somebody
here and not win it.
Somebody told me earlier in the week that Marvin was going to win, and by how many? And I said, oh my God. Really? They almost botched it.
Is that right?
Thank God for Bill Landis.
Thank you, Bill.
He pushed it over the top.
Bill Bender voted for him too. He said so. He wants an NIL deal out of the Sporting News. He's a Central Ohio resident.
Everyone's out there clamoring to say this was my
every vote matters.
I pushed it over the top.
Just like in the elections, vote early, vote often.
I didn't have one this year. I don't know why.
A Blitnikoff vote?
I could have made it a two-point win for Marvin Harrison.
How do you qualify to get a Blitnikoff vote?
They pick your name out of a hat.
Really?
I don't know. They used to be part of the Football Writers Association of America. These are the people who want voting for it, and it's a much larger pool, and they may have cut it down. I don't know, and I didn't make the cut, Bob. I'm just not. I don't cover enough college football.
That's not fair.
I've had a Heisman vote taken and given away twice, and that
really
stings
they
more.
took it from you.
Wow. Yeah, because they do theirs more like the electoral college. So I was the regional voter in Wyoming. I had to give that up when I went to Tennessee. Then I was the Tennessee voter. Moved up here. Didn't get it back, but there's carpet salesmen that get to vote in the Heisman Trophy. That's great. So.
Wait, no, I get so confused.
You don't have one for regionally here?
No.
That's remarkable. There are some. The fact that they give those things out and the guy who was in charge of it here is a little ridiculous.
Doesn't cover college football?
No, and
anyway,
there's a lot there to unpack.
I'll be making some calls.
Can you get that done for me now?
When I asked about
it,
and they referenced someone's like, "Oh, this is the guy that's in charge regionally." I go, "You know what? I'm going to pass because if that's who you have to rely on getting a vote from, that will never happen." So
I think that used to be what pushed me over the top to win over Allie. She's like, because she loves college football, and I'm like, well, I'm a Heisman voter. 2009.
Sealed the deal.
So I took her to the Fiesta Bowl, Ohio State and Texas, and I'm a Heisman voter. And I'm like, what do you think?
Pretty big
pretty
deal.
Awesome.
And now we have a 6-year-old.
Boom.
You got to work with me on her.
I don't know. Good try. You got one?
Yeah. Last 2 years.
Don't talk to her about that. All right.
Don't bring it up.
You stay out of it, okay? You can.
It was surprisingly easy. How it happened for me. Trying to get it regionally, I was like, I would have better luck. Literally running blindfolded across 315 at 5:50, like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
But the national, like, oh yeah, you do this, do that. Oh, perfect. Boom.
Yeah.
Here you go. We'll send you the email.
No, I mean I've only been in this region now for 12 years doing this, but I'll keep going for 12 more and see.
Maybe if you get fired from your job for going borderline postal and then get out of sports, then maybe then you can get one.
I'm open to any
It
alternative.
might be the way to go.
But the good
drift.
the good thing is I can just bet on it now and I won't have to worry about it. So I'll try and profit. Nicole. Gift cards are still on sale, I believe.
They are. You guys, it's the holidays. So it's like get a gift, give a gift, get a gift.
That's it.
Kind of
There you
thing.
go.
Give and receive. So
The two best things you can do.
I know. It's really about
The
giving
lucky
now.
Pierre?
I'm really pushing the giving. But for every $50 in gift cards, you get a $10 Rooster bonus buck. So and
Are those
going to
be part of your? Are those going to be your favorite thing for the party next week or Friday?
That is not.
What?
I do put in a Rooster buck and Listerine breath strips. Those are my favorite things. But I got a blanket for everybody
Okay.
this year. Last year I did those little mini emergency kits. Guarantee you've used those before.
It's probably true. You may have exhausted it already. You may have
I'm
a
bringing
refill.
I'm bringing refills.
Right.
Yep.
And
So-
don't forget appetizer.
That's
Thursday.
right. Tomorrow.
Yes. Appetizer Thursday, mini corn
Mini
dogs.
corn dogs.
With
Anything else
Mustard.
in the works, Nicole?
No, just thank you to everybody who registered for the bowl trip. It's been
This
very
year there were
exciting.
65 million.
There were
Millions?
not.
Oh my
Let me
gosh.
clarify, there were not.
Is that a new record?
What?
There weren't?
That's what I was told.
We
Nicole.
had a lot of people register, but we have a great group of winners.
Sounded good to me.
We've always been so lucky and feel so fortunate that all of our winners have been so wonderful. So, and we're excited to go to Texas.
Well, people that watch the show and go to Roosters, well, those are the wonderful people in the world. So
they're pretty.
that's
great.
kind of how they
And
They
follow
are.
down.
They're so great.
I want the winners to feel more special by telling them that they made it out of a pool of 65 million
60.
people.
And I
So-
do like that. It's more for the people next year who try to register.
Okay.
But I do like that.
So next year we want the total to be 65 million people. So
Yes.
step it up,
Yes,
people.
let's go.
You didn't meet the bar.
And we're coming up with new ideas for next year because of the new playoff schedule. We can't do bowl games.
Ooh, that's true.
Just because
Nicole's already
basically-
on that. I told her.
I
a
mean,
couple
we
weeks
might
ago.
do something like if it's in Columbus and it's like a staycation kind of thing.
Oh,
we don't
yeah.
know. So we're kind of brainstorming. We're definitely still going to do prizes though.
Bob can get you in at the Blackwell on the night before the game.
Oh,
I'm sure.
wonderful.
Yeah. There's plenty
Thank
of
you,
rooms.
Bob.
They've got these great couches down in the lobby.
Perfect.
Anybody can stay.
They're deluxe.
Anybody. They're deluxe.
Perfect.
They are deluxe.
Deluxe accommodations.
Okay.
That's right.
I like it.
Yeah. I rattled Nicole just thinking about it. Like, all right, we're going to let her go. We're going to come back. We're going to bring Berm in. We're going to talk a lot more about Ohio State and the Cotton Bowl and roster management fever in December. We are at Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint.
There's nothing like the holidays, and we at Roosters have been busy preparing for the season. So grab Grandma, all the cousins, and that one really goofy uncle, and let us host you for the holidays. We'll do the cooking and cleaning, and we'll even help you with the shopping. For every $50 in Roosters gift cards you purchase, you'll receive a $10 Roosters buck. What's better than giving and receiving? Roosters, your fun, casual holiday joint.
Welcome back into the Horseshoe Lounge. It is the live show at Roosters, a fun, casual joint. And Berm is here.
Oh, you
And
put
he-
your
oh,
sweater
no.
on, huh?
And he's sweating
Is he crying?
out of his
Sweating.
eyeballs.
Bobby just threw a piece
he's
of
so
paper in my
hot.
eye. I'm not sweating.
Oh, he did? I didn't see
Oh,
that.
so those were real tears?
What the hell is wrong with you guys? It was right
So
there.
they are tears.
That is. Bring me your tears, Jesse.
Oh my god.
There's no way it happened.
I
I didn't see
quit.
it.
I
I'm
didn't
done
see
with
it.
I
this.
quit.
There's no way.
This is finished. I'm not participating in this bowl game.
Yes, you are.
Hey, does Berm have a Heisman vote?
No,
No. He doesn't want to vote for anything.
that's true.
Big government Berm is all out on voting.
He said it was fixed.
Yeah. He's not down with that.
I'm pro anarchy, especially when it comes to college football awards.
So
It's amazing is they have a lot of
Those are
online.
high school
They have
Heisman.
your virtual ballots that they hold back after they get the results, and then they dump them in
they
there.
needed a batch to make
I-
sure that
I
Mark
At
believe-
2 o'clock.
Austin delivered the last handful
Guys,
of
I
them.
just found these. They were from the Midwest voting blocks.
Yeah.
So here we are, 4 guys without a Heisman vote.
Uh-huh.
Who would have?
No, I have a Heisman
No,
vote.
I have one too.
No, you don't.
I
just listened to the
I
first.
have
second.
one.
He said that he got a national
Yeah.
one, not
I
a
actually just
regional.
emailed him. They got back to
And
me.
Jay-Z's
Said, yeah,
got one. So
I sell insurance.
did you reveal your ballot, Bob?
I voted for Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, and Marvin Harrison Jr.
In that order.
I know that Jaden Daniels had a really good year of football.
I
He
almost
should not
voted
have won
for.
the Heisman.
I almost voted for Michael Penix.
Michael
I
Penix
think
should-
I
would've been
sat
my
there
vote.
staring at my screen, drinking water to get myself in the best psychological situation.
Get that
Saturday-
gray matter working.
Well, it was Saturday night. I'm like, you know what? I need to get
So
this.
you're
in. There's like a
rehydrating.
process.
Celebrating the crew
There's
championship.
a portal. There's all kinds of things. No, this was it wasn't that. We get to vote the week before. The
Oh, okay.
ceremony was that night.
Oh,
It was after all the games, and I'm like, I just watched 3 episodes of The Pacific, which made me even more depressed than I was already.
And you were watching the Pacific and didn't vote for the guy in Washington?
Well, I mean, what is that?
And then last year of the Pacific
Oh,
Conference.
the Pacific Athletic Conference.
Yeah, it's the last year.
Unbelievable.
You should have given it a nod.
I just, I
couldn't
did
do
vote
it.
for him. I voted for him second.
You know why Jaden Daniels shouldn't have won the Heisman? Because Dwayne Haskins didn't win the Heisman.
And
Because
that's-
C.J. Stroud didn't win the Heisman.
So, okay, hold up.
So if we're completely
I'm
changing
not
what
going
this
to-
award's about from now on, moving forward, then I
what,
guess
what
I'm
is
good with it.
what is the award about?
I don't know. But it's never been about the guy just having the best stats. It's always been about the guy leading the team that is the best quarterback on the best team.
I don't think
or
that's
the best
necessarily-
player on the
yeah.
best team.
it's not
Dan-
always
it's
the case.
Traditionally,
Yes.
that's the case.
I agree with it. I think that none of those guys this year, if Bo Nix, if they would have won and he would have played like Michael Penix, I probably would have voted him first.
Sure. I'm saying
Michael Penix just struggled
Michael
the
Penix
last.
played multiple games that were big games against high-level opponents. Beat Bo Nix twice. Beat Caleb Williams. I understand.
Didn't produce an offensive touchdown against Arizona
I
State.
understand he had a day or two where he struggled. I don't care. You're in the playoff. You're
get it.
undefeated.
There isn't a degree that I could say this guy gets like
Jaden Daniels
allocate.
played in nothing of importance the entire year.
The Alabama game, and he got knocked out, and so I don't want to hold that against him.
Lost.
He lost?
He also didn't finish the game.
That's how it goes.
He played 3/4 of
You're
it.
the quarterback on a team that loses.
They were not. They were down by a
Weren't they-
score. I
weren't
think
they
when
tied?
It was like it was a possession game at that point.
They were losing.
They had the ball.
They lost.
That's how he got knocked out of the
Wait,
game.
so Berm wanted no one to win, or
No,
only
he wanted
Penix?
Michael Penix should have won the Heisman.
And you're probably
I
not
agree,
wrong
I
in saying
agree
that.
with
I'm not. I understand
I don't
Jaden
know.
Daniels had a great year. His numbers are crazy good, but again,
I've been
Dwayne
drinking a lot
Haskins.
when I voted.
Dwayne Haskins didn't win the Heisman because Ohio State didn't win anything important that year.
Well, Dwayne Haskins didn't. Also, that in the fact that against Purdue on a nationally televised
he only
game,
threw for 475 yards. that
I
day.
understand, but it was not like a good reflection of him in the team, regardless of whether that
he
should
threw
matter.
I
or not.
can't believe
he
that
threw-
Dwayne Haskins couldn't cover Rondale Moore. Like
He-
that.
I know.
I understand
But
that.
that's my point. People are saying, "Oh well, Jaden Daniels, their defense sucked, so it doesn't."
If they would have lost to Purdue 52-49, maybe it's different.
he threw for 175
Threw it
yards and 3
73
touchdowns.
times. It's the record for Ohio State. Justin didn't throw it 73 times in
I'm
five games.
But how many touchdowns
It's
did
3rd and
Jaden
12.
Daniels,
Call the draw.
There you go.
how many touchdowns did Jaden Daniels throw against Oral Roberts or whoever the hell they played 4 times?
That was
this
like
year?
he had a lot of big games against those types of
I
teams,
just,
right? Which you should, but
yeah, it's fine. His numbers are great. He's a good player. I would draft him in the NFL. Like, I'm not saying he's not a good. Just if we are agreeing that the award is changing and it's now just for best stats, then cool. Let's go that way.
But here's the thing: it's not like he was just a stat machine throwing checkdowns and this and that. The dude rushed for
I
like
know.
200
he was the
yards.
first player to ever have 300 passing yards and 200 rushing yards in a game.
He's a
or something.
great
So-
player. Great player. Didn't play for anything important
Fair.
all year long.
Yeah, Penix played in some big
I
games.
don't know if they beat
early
Florida
in the year.
State. I'm sure the committee would have been a lot happier about that.
If they had beat Florida State, then we wouldn't be having this conversation.
I'm in agreement with you.
I'm just saying.
The fact that it was so difficult to choose between those
I
two
had no-
quarterbacks is
yeah.
also the reason that Marvin Harrison Jr. was a finalist, because I think that's what happened. Like, maybe not Bob's exact scenario of having some beverages and then trying to rehydrate and go through the ballot, but I think people got to those top 2 after Oregon lost to Washington. It's like, well, nobody else is really even in this mix for me, but Marvin is really freaking good, so he should probably be in New York.
I think there's too many votes in the South. Too many votes in the Atlantic Coast. That's what I think.
How do you even know how many are there?
Well, we saw
Do you have a breakdown?
the breakdown on Saturday night. How many?
I didn't know who won until like this morning
Yeah,
because of the
didn't-
crew championship
You were-
celebration.
Oh yeah, me too. I was celebrating.
I didn't
hard.
watch the ceremony, so
This guy
I
was
couldn't
celebrating
watch-
the
I
hell
couldn't
out of
watch.
kickball this weekend.
Yeah,
I was. That is
What
a
a
fact.
strange sport.
Glory to Columbus.
So
Go. Crew.
the ceremony was
right.
what it is.
Amen.
It's not. It's awful. You know, I mean, I still enjoy it from like the nostalgia of college football perspective, but it's just an hour of ESPN like
Oh, yeah.
loving
Yeah.
themselves.
Did anyone punch Desmond Howard? Did I miss
No,
that
he did
part?
not get allowed
Did
to
he
talk
even-
this year.
Oh, he didn't get the mic this year.
No.
Oh, that's good.
He was not allowed.
That's probably better off.
make a joke to Marvin.
Was McAfee there?
I don't believe Pat McAfee's won a Heisman Trophy.
No, I'm saying. Well, he's an ESPN guy. I didn't know if maybe they
no,
were
he
trying
was
to get
down-
numbers. I mean, that's
no.
why
He
they
was at
brought
the
him
Army
on
Navy.
College
Yeah.
game day.
Some of those guys they bus up like right away. Like you get done with game day on the train
Oh, for sure.
up to New York right away. Well, and it was in Boston this year. I don't know if that was easier or not to be able to get from there versus Philly, but yeah. Plus, I think you have to wear caps and sleeves
Well,
at the
in
Heisman
this
Trophy
league.
ceremony.
hey, that guy gets to do whatever he wants.
You've seen some of these guys clean up real nice. Troy actually put on a suit the
Did he?
last
He
time I was
did.
covering it. He looked great. I mean,
He did on Saturday too.
He did. He looks all right.
good.
I was
for him.
going to apply for a credential. Did you guys apply and get denied?
No, I've covered it a number of times, but it didn't seem worth the expense to go to New York because I knew that Marvin wasn't going to win, and I could talk to him on Thursday before he left.
Okay.
Like, it is a good experience. It's awesome to be there. You don't actually, when you get a credential and you're in the media, you are banned from the Nokia Theater
Yeah.
across the street or Sony Theater.
You're
Whoever
not
owns
allowed
it
in
now.
there when they win.
So you have to stay across the street and wait.
It's good. That's perfect. Yeah.
But you get a ton of
Austin
access.
normally has to stay 500 feet away from kids.
Berm's the only one that's got high school
You
access.
see?
That's what I was thinking.
I make the
mean,
joke, and
That's
it's
good.
not funny.
It is.
You
know
can
why?
make that joke all the time, Bob, and it's I make it one time.
Well, it's because
Don't
you-
think we've ever suggested that any of us are pedophiles on this show.
it was a funny joke.
Yeah, you took it up a notch.
Yes.
Well, I guess
far.
we did when Jay-Z grew his
far.
mustache. We probably
Too
did make
far.
sense.
See?
Fair enough.
All right,
too far.
fine. But I'm actually allowed
I'm
to
sorry
take
to
my
talk
daughter
about
to
the
school.
high-
I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, you are allowed.
I'm sorry I'm a little upset about the way the Heisman is.
Okay.
Okay?
It is what it is, though, and this is what it's been. So it's going to be like that in the future.
I applaud the passion. Do you have any passionate takes about the value of the Cotton Bowl? I think you do.
Yeah, I think it's a really important football game. I almost said the F word.
That's how important it is, huh? It gets
My
you
man
fired
is
up.
my man is heated
I
today.
love it. We've got 2 weeks. You better calm
Do
down.
you consider yourself a competitor? Because if you do, then that game matters. And if you have, I don't care if you have 65 players left in the building come December 30th, those 65 players better want to win the football game.
Hold on, so are you saying we're only going to have 65 players in the building?
Well, they're
Possible.
already down 14. And if we think Mr. Undecided Marvin Harrison, he could be 15.
And there's some guys that are hurt. I mean, there's
So
The guys that aren't
I
going
guess
to,
so.
we're starting from a position that's already 70 scholarship players because I'm just going to include Marvin in that number. And I bet that there's a couple other NFL bound
well, they were
guys.
at 89 scholarship players, so you're down to 75, 74.
But then then there's some seniors on top of that
Sure.
with injuries.
Let's
and-
put it down to 68.
so,
it's
who
right about
knows?
there, and that's
Oh,
fine.
it is, yeah.
Yeah, look, it still matters to win. I mean, it's still Especially because you're going against a team in Missouri that is going to hang their hat.
They want this one.
If Missouri wins this game, your photo in the Ohio State uniform, whether it's the scarlet or the white, whatever it is on that day, I think Ohio State will be the home team, so they'll probably be wearing scarlet.
They're the higher seed.
You're going to be on every single piece of Missouri literature for the next year.
Oh, yeah.
And so I understand people look at it and say, well, this game doesn't matter. Yes, it matters.
Missouri, it's like Purdue going to something like this. Like, it's a big deal for them. And Missouri, they've had a good year. Played Georgia really tough. They're a good team. They can run the football. They're running back Schaefer's
Eli
very good.
Drinkwitz, you're telling people, we just knocked off Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. Like, this game matters, and Ohio State can't go into it thinking it doesn't.
Well, that's why I think potentially a lot of the guys on defense who maybe could leave, but I think possibly are leaning at coming back, front seven, box guy, like that's big to be able to handle their run game, because that is what Missouri wants to do. So
they had a Heisman Trophy finalist. He finished, what, 8th, right? They're running
Schaefer doesn't make you a finalist.
I mean, it's
top 10.
Was
he leading rusher in college football?
In the SEC.
Or in the SEC?
He was a candidate.
He finished ahead of 2 Michigan players who finished 10th and 9th.
Someone voted J.J. McCarthy number 1.
Number 1?
Well, didn't he have like the best odds at some point in the
season?
He did.
Or why was it
because
not?
Are you allowed to vote in like October? If you
you get it a week before.
Yeah, it used to be. I think you could send it in whenever, and now they don't send it to you until at
least like all right. We got
now we don't get to know who voted for who, but that's a case of someone who clearly was like the number 1 team in the country. Here's their quarterback. That's who I'm voting for.
No, I think it probably means it was a vote that came from the Michigan.
Clearly, but Blake Corum also had first place votes.
He did,
didn't he?
I thought I saw.
He had like 2 or 3.
Those. They both had.
There are 3 first place votes per Bill Landis, fact checking me in real time.
Yeah,
see that.
That's crazier than J.J. McCarthy, I guess.
Corum scored like 28 touchdowns or something.
Yeah, but his yards per carry was like.
It was Bill. Bill voted for Blake Corum.
It all makes sense now.
3 times.
That's another joke.
Yes,
you just got a lot of
All
jokes.
right, forget about this nonsense.
Okay,
Birmingham.
Yeah,
there we go. Let's go.
Well, I mean, this is what the folks want to know. I mean, there's a lot of departures in the portal. 14. You look at some of these guys, Kyle McCord being the one that was most notable. That happened, I think, right before the show last week.
Last Monday, yeah.
We learned maybe a little bit more throughout the week.
Well, Fleming went into the portal while we were on the show.
Yeah, slid on in there. I mean, are they a package deal? They're out in Nebraska, I heard, together.
I don't think they intended it to be that way.
How do you think? You don't think they're recruiting them actively together?
I'm sure you're saying why not.
I think you'd take both of them if you're Nebraska.
Maybe the familiarity helps, but is Julian Fleming, after being the 4th?
Well, is he the 4th because Kyle McCord didn't like him, or is he the 4th because they have other really good players?
I think he likes him fine.
I think he likes it.
I would think that they get along.
I'm not suggesting
kind
that
of
they don't.
Kind of like Cade
like
McNamara and all going to Iowa last year.
I'm just saying it's probably not as similar to the relationship that Marv and Kyle had in high school.
So you're saying Marv is going to get in the portal?
Is he going to Nebraska?
They've got $25 million ready for it. I mean, 1 year of Marv.
It's
at
out
Nebraska.
there. Yeah,
it's got to be true.
1 year,
the highest paid receiver in the NFL.
I know.
Anyway, what was your question?
Yeah, what was it?
The guys that are outside of the let's go with Kyle McCord first. How do you believe this transpired? What do you think ultimately happened that led Kyle to slide into the portal?
I mean, common sense would dictate that the McCord family didn't love the way they were treated by the outside world throughout Columbus in the last 4 months. They probably wanted a little bit more fervent support from their head coach, who had multiple opportunities throughout the season to stand in front of the media and say, Kyle's my guy, I believe in him. And
I thought Ryan was very positive on Kyle. And he even said in the post game, like, people want to put this on the quarterback. It's more than just one guy.
I mean, there's moments throughout the year that I think you can look at. And when the injury happened the first time, it was sort of like, deal with it. Like, it wasn't exactly as supportive as you would want. I mean, that's your team. You want that guy. And then I think he probably wanted some assurances that he is 100% going to be the starter moving forward. And while he would be starting the bowl game, I don't think that there was any guarantee that Ohio State could make or would make beyond that, which probably was just maybe the final
slap in the face.
I mean, I think it would
the straw that broke the camel's back.
Disingenuous for any coach to sit there 100%. On December 8th and tell someone that you're going to be the starter Labor Day weekend 2024.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's the difficult part of the situation that they're now in, because Ryan Day would not do that. And I can understand 100% why he didn't, because of what you're saying, Bob. There's a long competition to go. Devin Brown and Lincoln Keynotes both have ability. You want them to have an opportunity. But if Ohio State proceeds and they would like, Riley Leonard's probably going to go to Notre Dame. They would like him to visit. They wanted Dylan Gabriel to visit. He's committed to Oregon.
I don't think they're good. I don't think any of the portal quarterbacks are true options at this point.
Correct.
They may not be. But if a week ago they were trying to make an effort to do that, you would have had to promise one of those guys who are one-year rental. You would have had to say, here you go, and you will be the starter.
We're giving you this money, and maybe, you're going to be our starter.
And maybe that's why the situation wasn't desperate enough to drop a bag of money just to have Riley Leonard visit, or to have Dylan Gabriel think about something different. Like maybe the Michael Pratt, if he goes in the portal, that's another conversation to have. But it doesn't look like the way it is right now that Ohio State feels any urgency to do that, as you said, Bob, with the guys who are currently available.
And I think it's a little bit of a unique situation with McCord, especially because he's been in the program for 2 years where –
Three. This is third.
But 2 years where the other quarterback, it was a – CJ's our guy next year, so it's not like it's –
Well, typically when you go 11-1 and you have a decent
you're not
season,
going to change things. So what Ryan Day said on his press conference 3 days before Kyle McCord entered the transfer portal was, when you lose that game, everything's on the table. We're going to evaluate everything. And I think that conversation –
He said that 12 hours before he went to the portal.
12 hours. I mean, I think at that point, that the conversation between Day and the McCord family had clearly already occurred. So I think it was a situation where that, if you just piece this all together, like you can't just say we're not going to let these guys compete for the job, because what type of program is that? So especially considering how close the job was between Devin Brown and Kyle McCord in August. So it's not like Kyle McCord was out there in August and blew everyone away and won the job hands down. There was some back and forth that Ryan Day himself was like, 1 week it's this guy, 1 week it's this guy. Kept going. So I don't think that it would have been reasonable to expect that your job was just going to be locked in and secured based on the way this season went. Now, whether or not that's fair, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Well, locked in and secured doesn't – I mean, in our day, it didn't happen.
No.
You knew, all right, yeah, I was a starter. I'm going to get number one reps. I'm not going to be splitting 50-50. I'm not in a quarterback competition. But if someone outperforms you or is outplaying you, then that coach has the responsibility to say, he's better than you. I'm sorry. This is not how we intended this to go, but this is how it is, and this is where we are. So
but now the conversation is so different because now it's not even just about number one reps. Yeah. Now it's about number one money.
Well, then that's so it's way, way different, of course, than when
you can't go into the offseason thinking, well, hey, I'm the number one guy. I need X amount of dollars because I'm that guy. If you're not that number one guy, because the school has to pay you, and they may not be interested.
That's not the school.
Oh, right. The school's not paying them. Right.
Maybe someday. They very much want that.
I think that it's just such a different conversation now than it's ever been, and I think that's why you look at the portal and all the quarterbacks that are in it. Like Kyle McCord's visiting Nebraska, okay? Like he's talking. We've seen rumors about Miami and Florida State, and it's not like in Michigan. There's been conversation between Kyle McCord and Michigan, like.
Oh. I could imagine him and Jim Harbaugh together.
What is the?
But J.J. McCarthy's coming.
But what's the market? You know what I mean? Like because there are a lot of kids who will say, "Hey, I'm just going to enter the portal and see my market," and then most schools around the country, if you're a player like Kyle McCord, say, "Okay, you can come back." I mean, that's not.
I don't think that's the case here. No,
it's not. That's what I'm saying. Most schools around the country, not this one. Not saying that it's like a market test for Kyle McCord, but I'm saying
biggest portal loss at this point.
I mean,
of the 14,
I think it's still Kyle McCord.
Let's say not Kyle notwithstanding. Maybe surprise/loss.
I think Julian's value is often overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
I expected his decision to come down to the NFL or one more year at Ohio State. I did not forecast, all right, well, maybe I can make more in an NIL deal somewhere else. And I'm not speaking for Julian. Like it's got to be part of the conversation, and he's had a high-powered agent since the moment he arrived, who everybody knows his name at the NFL level. And say, hey, well, you may be able to, if you're a 4th or 5th round pick, you'll probably be able to secure more money in an NIL deal from a Nebraska or a Miami or a Florida State or somebody Texas A&M, somebody like that, then you could guarantee yourself as a rookie on a rookie deal as a fourth round.
And if he goes out and proves himself as a number one wide receiver, then he has a chance to double up and move himself up the draft ranks and get that money. So to me, the one that is the most surprising
Chip
is
Well, I
Chip
was going
Trayanum.
to say, him and Mayan.
Mayan,
Well, maybe not so surprised, but I was hoping he was going to come back because I feel like we've shown over
Who
the
are you
last
going
2
to talk
years,
about next offseason?
Well, that we need those guys. I mean, Trey doesn't stay healthy.
Well, the running back
If
room
Trey-
is
the running
back room is
decimated.
beat up.
Travion hasn't decided if he's coming or going. So for for Chip to do that now is crazy to me because you could wait a week and find out for sure if Travion's coming back or not. If he's not coming back, you are the starting tailback at Ohio State as a kid from Akron, Ohio, you'll be set the rest of your life. And
probably be captain.
Now, do you think that
he would be a captain.
Did he come back here to play linebacker?
That was the conversation. But
So
he
do you
was
think
just,
that-
he wanted to come back to Ohio State?
Okay.
And
So it's not like he's like, I'm getting out of
Right.
here. They put me at running back. I wanted to do this.
No, I think he could have stayed at linebacker. They're thin at linebacker.
the
They would have
need-
taken him over
the
there.
need
Fair,
when
but
he
we were
tra-
standing at running back
the
too.
need when he transferred was at linebacker, and then the need became running back. Tripp's always preferred playing running back. That's
Okay.
what he's.
I didn't know
best
if
at.
that had something to do with him
No,
getting out of
he's-
here, saying, "Well, I want to go be linebacker. I think I can do that in the league better than
He's,
running back."
he's
He
want-
had the
he wants to go
choice.
play running back.
Okay.
He had the choice leading up to the Sugar Bowl, and he said, if they're going to leave it up to me, my preference is stay running back.
And for him to leave now, when Evan Pryor transferred, when Mayan's going to the NFL and it was out for the year anyway, so it's not like he was going to compete. You don't know what the situation is with Trey. To me, that indicates like a bigger. I don't think it's just about NIL dollars, like because you could wait a week and figure out what
Well, then
you're
you
doing.
have like two starters.
What if
Fleming and
there's
him
what if
just-
there's an NIL opportunity at another school that was perishable?
I mean, that's maybe the game people are playing, but again, if you're from Ohio, like
You're starting running back at
You're
Ohio
starting
State.
tailback
Trey
at
was
Ohio
making
State.
what, 700? I mean, I just saw
whatever it is, Trey's made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And will do the same thing if he returns, but Chip would have
filled
done
right
just
in.
fine. And it's not just next year that he would do just fine. It's the rest of his life. You're a captain at Ohio State. You're from Ohio. You won state championships in high school at Akron Hoban. Like, you are set for the rest of your life. So that sort of short-sighted thinking to me is just confusing and I guess maybe a concern like for the future of sports moving forward because it's just nonsensical. The timing of it is nonsensical.
What do you think it is, Bob?
Well, that's.
I think it's him trying to beat everybody else to the portal.
I think that
A little bit of that.
I think that there's probably a team,
In
at
the
least
SEC?
speculating,
In
that
Lexington, Kentucky?
they may have a head coach that's from the region of the country that Chip is from. They probably wanted a guy like him. Maybe he has someone who's advising him who's also from that area of the country who we would know. Justin, who maybe kind of leaned into that. And if I can't get this here, I'll go take it somewhere else, which in reality, like you said, if there's any gap, the gap that I would think that it would be something that is insignificant over the span of a lifetime, especially with the fact that, like I said, he's most likely would have been a captain and a lot of other things. And I love Chip. I think he's a really good player. And the way that Ryan uses him also, I think, is very advantageous for him at the next level to be able to show off a bevy of his skills. I was talking to Rick Neuheisel about this morning on XM, and he's like, he's a Swiss Army knife. And I'm like, well, because Ryan uses him as such. You have to have a coach that's creative to be able to get him involved in a multitude of ways, which he would have been. And so it's just, that was a little disheartening to me because I thought, hey, regardless of whether it's Trey or Dallin, whoever, that's a nice 1-2 punch with him. And he's going to get a lot of carries again. He's going to be integral into the offense.
In the passing game, they do a lot of things.
Yeah,
It's
to
just-
get him involved in the passing game. I mean, he played really well in the Michigan game.
Yeah.
It was
disheartening is the right word for that one. Ryan Day recruited Chip out of high school because Ohio State at that time was recruiting him as a linebacker. Ryan Day was the assistant in the area for Ohio State. He was not head coach yet when he started the relationship with him. Like, loved Chip. That relationship was great. Chip, having the opportunity to come back home and then to do this now, I just don't really get it. Yeah. And to me, again, that the bigger issue is like, what does it mean for college football when a kid from Ohio who'd already transferred from the Pac-12 back to Columbus, like, I just don't understand where the game is going. And again, I know money's money and everyone needs it and you can get it now, fine, but like, it just seems weird. And, that sucks.
But I think the positive news out of all this is I do believe that there's some momentum for current roster guys to be coming back more so than maybe there's been in past years.
There's a lot of unfinished business for a lot of people, I think. And there's also the fact that this NFL draft is shaping up to be somewhat loaded in some key spots, wide receiver being one of them. I mean, we can.
Think Mecca comes back?
I think it shapes up shapes up nicely for him to do so. If you look at the roster and you look at the needs and you look at the NFL depth at wide receiver in this class, like I think that Emeka is a guy that we all anticipated being a top 25, top 30 pick heading into this year. Right now, he's probably like 45 to 50.
Yeah, he got hurt. He missed
a lot of time, and so I think if you can come back and you sort of cement your legacy in Columbus, like Chris Olave did, for example. Why you're still going to make pretty decent money.
There's no threat of him getting out of here, is there?
I mean, there's always
a threat, I guess. Sees how this bowl practice goes with a.
He was the guy that USC was trying to steal a year ago, not Marvin Harrison.
And he was the one publicly acknowledging it. Like, yeah, these people are tampering and offering a lot of money, and he chose not to do that. We'll see. I mean, it's kind of a perfect storm of factors, Bob, because these guys from the 2021 class, they don't have gold pants. They don't have a championship ring. They've not, been to a national title game. They've not won any of those things. So I think some of their draft feedback is not at the level that people told them it was going to be in August when those were projections and mock drafts. And so some of that reality, some of the NIL, all these things, you put them in one pot, and it might be enough to bring back a lot of these key pieces and veteran starters for Ohio State. But we'll see. I mean, that choice is up to them, and you can't fault them no matter what they decide. They gotta do what's best for them.
I get it. It's just, you look at a lot of things that it seems why there's that momentum pushing them back, which is, I think, not just good for the team, but I think it's good for some of those guys. There's certain guys that I would always look at them, hey, if you can go.
Let's say a top 3 pick in the draft.
Yeah. The questions I always ask everybody, though, like, do you enjoy playing at Ohio State? I would ask that for anybody, wherever they're at. If the answer is yes, well, then let's figure out what opportunities would be there for you or, like, could be perishable if you don't leave, like, in where things could potentially happen. And if you enjoy being here, all right, then let's try to figure that out. And is there a way to make that work? And especially now with NIL opportunities and different things, and who all is going to be back. You look at the defensive line. If you can get Jack and JT back, I think that's
huge,
massive,
pretty huge. I mean, that would be big. If you can find a way for a Lathan Ransom to come back, like that's massive in the secondary. I don't know what Denzel is going to do. I think Jordan Hancock, there's a good chance that he comes back. But if you start getting most of those pieces back, gives you a lot of flexibility. Maybe move a Sonny Styles to linebacker and. Maybe you pull a safety out of the portal, Malik Hartford, kind of grow some of those young guys, and I think you can have a pretty stout squad.
But it also explains why you need 14 transfers out of your program right now.
Yeah, because you need you
have to have room because there is at least a growing confidence that a handful of those guys do decide to come back. So that's not something we were talking about a month ago, and so now a lot of these other conversations change. I've tried a couple times in the last week to. On the message board at Rivals and stuff like that, like you have to view college football roster building now almost like the NFL. Like you are not going to have 85 guys that are 4-star players waiting to play. Like it's just not the way it is. So if you can have 60, if you can have 65, that bottom 25 guys on your roster every year
is going to flip.
Are just going to rotate. It's just going to be free agency. It's going to be the 4-star who left Miami who couldn't play there is going to come to Ohio State and see if he can play. The 4-star who left Ohio State is going to go to Florida State and see what he like. Everyone's just going to.
In a lot of ways, if Ohio State adjusts to that before others, you don't just get unlimited transfers. Yeah. Until you become a graduate again. So got like a 1 year.
Wait, they're not going to get limitless transfers?
They don't get limitless.
How? Because I've watched guys transfer 4 times.
DJ Ngoguga doing it again?
I know. Well, he's a graduate. He used his one free, then you still get the bonus one.
But so that's how they're doing it as seniors.
A guy who leaves after 1 year who was a high 4 or 5-star, well, you get 2 years out of him. It's like it's a Moneyball situation. Embrace that. Embrace the chaos.
You still have to pay him.
Well, it's not all perfect. But anyway.
How do we feel about that? I mean, Ohio State
I think it's great.
Is Ohio State positioned better than last year, worse?
Yes, positioned better than last year.
Okay.
Saw a tweet asking
does that mean it's
money today?
Yeah.
That has to happen. I mean, it sucks, but until businesses around Ohio want to step up to the plate and give 6 figures at a time, this is how it has to happen. You need both. You need to have both tranches. You have to have the major businesses. You need to have the Limited. You need to have Kroger. You need to have all these companies. They're not afraid down at Coca-Cola ain't afraid to give money to Georgia. I'm telling you that right now. So if Kroger wants to jump in, now's the time. But you still need the individual donations, and that's just the way it's going to have to happen until legislation passes next month. It'll hopefully change things.
Do you think legislation is going to pass on this? And here's the other thing I told someone. I've watched the Supreme Court now multiple times smack away any chances, even if they get an antitrust exemption passed.
Just a little one.
The way that our United States government system works is then it can then be challenged in the courts on its on if it's constitutionally allowable. And we'll see, because I'm not fully convinced that the Supreme Court wouldn't strike that down.
I think we should just be positive.
I'm just being real. I'm just being real.
I love college football.
You can't discourage BGB over here from putting trust in the Supreme Court.
And I still want to love college football, but it's harder and harder.
I'm not saying putting trust. I mean, they're with what they have said earlier. Like, we'll give you an antitrust exemption so you can control these players again. That would go counter to everything that they have done.
Just a little antitrust exemption. That's all they want. Just a little one.
Just getting a little bit pregnant.
Yeah, just a little bit.
It's a little pregnant.
See how it feels.
How'd that work when Ellen got a little bit pregnant?
We went full pregnant.
Yeah.
About 9 months later.
It starts out small.
There's no half measure with that, I don't believe. But hey, maybe a miracle will happen and the NCAA will get rules put in place for them. I highly doubt it, though.
Mark Emmert is actually coming back out of retirement.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Coming out of retirement.
Well,
Charlie Baker.
Awesome.
Charlie Baker's war.
That'll solve everything. But there is still a game to look forward to. It's only 2.5 weeks away down in the Cotton Bowl, Ohio State and Missouri. We're supposed to talk to the Buckeyes again this week, hear from Ryan Day and the players, so we'll have all that coverage as we get ready to go down there and cover the Cotton Bowl in Texas. Appreciate Nicole Cox for the wonderful holiday sweaters and this gift and the opportunity to come hang out in the Horseshoe Lounge at Roosters. It's a fun casual joint. That's Jay-Z, Bob, Berm. I'm Austin. We'll talk to you next week.